Purple Ties Podcast. Great stories of Trevecca Trojans and life on the Hill. Welcome in. Greg Ruff along with you, and joining me today is going to be Ben Tyree and also MaKray Odom on the Purple Ties Podcast. Purple Ties Podcast came about just a couple of weeks ago. Michael Johnson kind of brought this idea to me. It's something we'd talked about many times before, and just a way to connect to alumni and current players, former players, coaches, whatnot, people in the community, the Trevecca community. So that's what we're doing. And this one, we're talking with Ben Tyree of the softball program. I want to thank Michael for helping us get this started. He will be back helping host the show as we go along. Also want to thank David Klimkowski, who is in a location undetermined at this point. Andrew Preston as well, who have helped get this thing off the floor mat and get going. And Ben is with us now. Ben is the softball coach at Trevecca, has been the softball coach. I'm going to guess again, I always forget this, but is 11 or 12 years? Or 14? Or 10 or 9?
I don't know. I think this might have been the 12th year. The
12th year. I think it was in that ballpark. But thank you for joining us today. And this is kind of interesting. All four of us are in different locations able to do something live on the internet, right?
Yeah, we should be playing games today. Probably up in Ohio this weekend, somewhere like that, I'm sure. But glad to be here. Good to see you.
I looked, and you would have been on your way to Cedarville, I believe, for this weekend.
2 good wins right there. Appreciate
it. Absolutely. Well, as we talk about you're a coach who came in, took over for Ernie Reynolds, and continued to build. Got us eventually through the NCAA transition, and you picked up 400 wins over the course of your career now. Picked it up the number 400 earlier this year. Talk about all the players that have gone into helping you get 400 wins. You have to mention all 87 that we came up with, okay?
Sure. It's going to be hard. From the very first group we had to this year's group, there's been a lot of players come through here, but there's been a lot of good players.
Absolutely, and I mean, it really does take all those players, but you have to recruit. I mean, I kind of put this in my mind. It's kind of like cooking with Ben, because being a coach is kind of like cooking. You got to go out and shop for the groceries, which are the recruits, and then you got to get the recipe out and prepare, and then you got to serve and prepare it and present it to those that are eating, and really that's what you do. You recruit the players, then you train them, you come up with a schedule, and then you present them to everybody for the games, which we all enjoy watching your team play.
Well, thanks. They work hard, and they've done a really good job of what we try to do.
When I talk about your career, you got us into the NCAA Division II era, and you did it well. You not only won the conference, but then you went to region, and you did something nobody thought outside of your team probably, and your parents maybe. You won a game at the region, kind of surprised some people there that first year in particular.
Yeah, we got to beat the host team, University of Indy, who had been a regular in the NCAA tournaments, and that was pretty impressive for us, and that kind of made us think we have a chance to do something.
All right. One other thing that comes to mind here, and I think maybe Klimkowski has this available. I went through yesterday. We did a campaign with a young lady named Skylar Milton, who is interning with us right now, and she came up with this idea, and we put it into play about 400 win Ben, and we started that on Monday, and had all kinds of great social media response. And I went through. I thought, well, I'll just grab a few of them. I ended up getting 30 different posts, and you're going to see them right now on the screen. So just talk about all these players, the names that you see come up, and kind of how that made you feel over the last couple of days.
It's nice to see. Excuse me. It's nice to see teams off pass with players who contribute to our program and got us to where we are, and had some nice little notes from each one of them. And I tried to make sure that I wrote back to every one of them too, and took up my time. But it was well worth it. It was a nice tribute, and I really appreciate it.
I think it's one of those things in my job, what I do. These are the things when I see those comments, I can only imagine how you felt. But it makes me proud of what you've done and what the team's done, and just see giving back. Because I know, I forgot who it was. Somebody said I think it was Caitlin Hudgens talked about that maybe sometimes y'all didn't see eye to eye, but this is very true of coaching. Sometimes maybe you don't see eye to eye with players, but they always appreciate it later. They see the bigger picture maybe sometimes later.
Caitlin was one of those special players too, that she wanted to be on the field, and she went through some injuries with us, and we kind of, went back and forth trying to get her on the field and at least let her bat and do some other things. But she was a big part of this team, and it was really good to see her finish her career here at Trevecca.
It's hard to single out players, and it's hard for me to do that, but I know it's harder for the coaches too. But Caitlin's somebody who I've connected with a little bit recently, and she's working in the nursing career, and she's in I think it's labor and delivery. And so she sent me some stuff, and we're going to put something out on her before too long. But she is on the front lines right now, and I know a lot of your former players make you proud, if not all of them. But she's one that's out there doing it right now on the front line.
She's one that went through the nursing school that goes through Belmont, and last year on our field, I think it's the first time I remember since I've been here. Her professors came on campus, and we actually pinned her on our field. And there's just so much emotion there, and watch her graduate on the dirt, and then go into action up at Bowling Green. It's been a really thrill.
Well, we're going to bring in another player who we thought was going to be finishing her career over the next few weeks, and we're excited to present this video to you. And she's already let it out, but we're gonna double premiere it here. So let's hear from MaKray Odom. MaKray, talk about how you decided to put that video together.
Well, TikTok has been like a fun thing, especially over like this break. Kind of been fun to scroll through, and a lot of the girls do it, and it's been kind of like we always send funny TikToks to each other. So whenever I made my decision to come back, I was like, well, I'm going to keep it on the down low until I find like a funny way to tell them, because we all laugh about stuff like that. So that better way than make a TikTok.
Does Ben's pretty savvy in social media? Has he gotten in the TikTok world yet?
Not yet.
I've seen him make some appearances though. Some of the stuff in the dugout, he's made some appearances. So talk about Ben, because people, he's like 87 million years old and everything. He's out there coaching all you kids. You all call him Pawpaw or something like that. And I think, yeah, and it's great. But he does have a great sense of humor, doesn't he?
Yes.
That was it?
No, he really does. So we got one of the funniest things that's happened lately was before we left for Florida, we got T-shirts made, and we didn't take a team picture, and I'm so mad about that. But we all got T-shirts made, and they were bright yellow, and it said Team and Youth Softball Spring Break 2020. And on the back, our T-shirt said Papaw and the Kids, and the back of his T-shirt said Papaw. And we got those so that we could be we could be standing out while we walked through the airport. And then we surprised him with it. He didn't even know it was coming. So that was hilarious. And he thought it was funny, even though he was kind of standing over there like, what? Yeah, he thought it was funny. He loved it.
Absolutely. What's that's a great story. And I know you guys show great affection for him and stuff like that. Do you have any other stories that we can embarrass him? But no, just be funny stories, actually be better.
Just like, I know Caitlin posted something about him having a wheelchair through the airport one year before Florida, and just making videos of us in the dugout, like dancing whenever he tries to hit the whoa, or just like whenever he tries to do certain dance moves, like we all like crack up. It's so funny. And then before the game, whenever we get in a circle, he started this thing where I drop down into the middle and we start doing dance moves, and he starts kicking his legs and stuff. It just gets us all laughing. So he does a lot of things that keeps our mood high before games and stuff. So.
Well, we put together some pictures of you over this particular year. We're going to show a little bit of those, but talk about this year in particular and what it meant for you, because you guys had something special going on very early on. You could tell that, right?
Yes, very much so. So what we kept saying from the very beginning of the year was that obviously we had a lot of freshmen, and we were like, okay, we're a very strong team because we have so many different abilities and like people to bring to the table. Like we had power hitters, we have quick slappers, like small ball players. Like literally anybody could play anywhere too, like just so many utility players. And so we just always were saying how we had so much to bring to the table, and that if someone couldn't get the job done, like we could always lean on someone else on the team to get it done. Like we could always trust in every single person, like from 1 to 20. I think that's how many people. I always lose count because we have so many people. But yeah, so everybody had something to bring to the table, and I think that we all realized it, and when we took that and ran with it whenever the spring came.
Well, one of the things that I would ask you too is like when you found out, and both of you can comment about this because I think it was I was actually in the room when Mark Elliott called Ben, and you guys, I believe, were in the parking lot to play the games down at the spring games. Just talk about that from y'all's perspective. I think that was a tough story. It was tough to be a part of on this side. I can only imagine what it was like for both of y'all. Ben, go ahead and start if you don't mind.
Right. You want me to go first? We was actually in a van on the way to the ballpark. We was living about 30 minutes away from the ballpark. So about halfway through, we got a phone call, and we got the news. And like I said, I told Mark that I was having trouble. My connection wasn't very good in my cell phone, but we eventually said he said he's going to put the word out here soon. So I wanted to get it back together. We was in 2 different vans, so I want to get it back to the ballpark. So we drove all the way, and a few of the girls already knew because it got on the phones, on the word got out, leaked out there. But I wanted to get there together one last time and see each other and give them one big group hug and tell them this is it. And it was a sad time for sure, especially for our seniors. MaKray and Reagan have put a lot in this program, and I think we went to Florida for them.
MaKray, what about you? Just talk about it from your perspective.
For me, it was traumatizing. I wasn't on Coach Tyree's bus, and so I know that I was sitting in the front of my bus, and so almost all the girls behind me found out, but I purposefully was not looking at my phone, and I could hear whispers and stuff. So I knew what was happening, but after the fact, they all told me that they were oh, MaKray, they were saying, do not tell her, because I would have, which I did. I got it, but so we all got there, and the coaches told us to leave our ball bags at the van and walk towards the entrance. And at that time, we were so confused because we thought we were going to at least get to play that day. We thought we were going to get to finish that day, even though we kind of knew about the rest of the season. And so we sat there, we posed for a picture, and we talked to the person, I guess it was the field director or something like that. And she said, okay, well, you guys have safe travels. And at that point, we all looked at each other and we were like, what? We were just in disbelief that was happening. And so we all kind of walked back to the van. You could start hearing whistles and people were starting crying. And I kind of parted myself on the other side and went off and cried by myself. And then the team came over and we had this huge group hug, and NK, which is our manager, he prayed for us. It was one of the saddest but most heartfelt moments that I've had with it before. And so even though it was really sad, it brought us together. Definitely.
Now you were planning on being the graduate assistant this coming year anyway, so you were planning on being around. How hard was it hard for you to decide that you wanted to go and play another year?
Well, so I knew for a fact that I was coming back, so that wasn't going to change. But one thing out of everything that I would keep telling myself was, next year, if I go back or if I don't go back, am I going to be able to sit in the dugout coaching and knowing that I could be out there playing with them, whether they're winning, whether they're losing, just in practice even. I love softball way too much to sit by and realize that I could be playing, and especially with these girls because they made it so much fun. If I didn't love the team, I feel like it would be a little different, but this team is just literally amazing, especially for going out my senior year, and I didn't want to give up an opportunity to play with them again. So.
What about you, Ben? What about you having to go through this as a coach? Because you got to work about your incoming players, and now you get potentially two seniors coming back that have been a big part of your program.
I think the more we thought about it, it not only affected our seniors, it affected our freshmen, sophomores, in juniors because we had incoming freshmen coming in next year with plans to play in, and then we had other girls with potentially a chance to play another year also. So it kind of changed the recruiting for the next few years, and we're still trying to work on that and see how that works out. But it's exciting. It kind of stacks your program a little bit more, and I like that. This team was special, and if I could keep them 1, 2, 3 more years, more the better. But we realize also other teams going to be doing the same thing.
Absolutely, it's going to be very competitive next year. Well, thank both of you for coming today on the Purple Ties podcast. I've told many people this. It's hurt to see all the games go away and all that, but in particular, maybe just a little bit because you guys were having such a special year, and you could just feel that this was a special team and a great bond. I got to see you guys play down at Huntsville the first couple of games. You just see you can see things in the dugout when you get to those first games and just see something. You guys had something special. So I look forward to next year as well. I put together something, so you guys sit tight. It's just a little quick video that we're going to play going out. I want to thank everyone for watching today. We'll have another podcast probably next week, and you can watch our social media for that. So for today, thank you very much for watching the Purple Ties podcast.
Dear Trevecca Softball, we miss you. Purple Ties Podcast. Great stories of Trevecca Trojans and life on the Hill.